Welcome back to the Bayside Fabrication YouTube channel. Took off a couple weeks here, now slowly getting back in action. And we got a mess of turbo parts here. So I've been collecting turbo parts the past few weeks, and I'm just gonna run over real quick of what we got going on. We just got miscellaneous turbo fittings, oil feed lines, oil drain lines, oil drain flange. These are all -10 for the drain. We got our Vanos bolt to -4 for the oil feed. So that will feed our turbo. We got our clamps for our tile 44mm wastegate. We got 3-inch V-bands. We've got 2.5 inch to 3-inch silicone reducer coming off the turbo to the intercooler. We got, let's see, an O2 bung. We got a fire ring for our wastegate. We got Bosch 980cc injectors. So these are a big ticket item. Actually, wound up not being too bad. I got them for 50 bucks, 50 something bucks each. Brand new Bosch OEM. These are actually off of Polaris. They're the largest flowing EV14 injector you can get from Bosch. That's an OEM part and not modified by a third party. So I got 6 of those. What else we got? We have a Innovate wideband, and I think I'm going to get a new one. Vlad told me he really likes the AEM failsafe. That's a newer wideband that's out, and I think I'm going to go that route. So this will be for sale. It's a slightly used unit, but it should work just fine. It actually uses the same Bosch 4.2 sensor that the AEM uses, but the AEM has a boost cut feature, and it has active data logging and all sorts of stuff. So I know that was a mouthful, but that's just some parts I collected. And today we're going to be porting our exhaust housing here. And we're going to be getting our manifold hopefully all tacked in place, get our gate tacked in place, and our turbo mounted. And then once everything's mounted, everything looks good, I'm gonna pull this off, weld it all up, and our manifold will be done. So that's kind of the goal for the next day. There it is. So look at all this material we can take off of. Now I'm not gonna go crazy, but I do wanna port it to a nice bevel, but this should really help the airflow get into that turbine housing. Okay, we got a little port job here. So that's kind of the idea. Now we're gonna weld on this flange. We're gonna cut these little ears off to just clean it up a little bit. So I marked the outside. So remark that, weld this V-band on, and now we have a V-band turbine housing. Well, there we have it. Our little ghetto V-band setup, but it's gonna work out really nice. It'll look good. It'll look good, and it will certainly has a nice better flow than just the standard T3 flange that was on here. It's gonna be a little flat in these spots up here. Might be able to smooth that in a little bit, but I don't think we're gonna get too crazy here. It's kind of maxed out for what it is anyway, so. Okay, here's the final product. Kind of did a little weave on that. So there's a good two passes on the outside, and I'm gonna do one more pass on the inside, so it'll be 4 passes total, 2 on the outside, 2 on the inside, and I think that should be plenty strong on here. I just am worried because I don't do too much welding of cast, especially cast stainless. I just want to make sure there's not any brittle areas here, so we're really hitting it pretty good, but I think it's gonna work out really well. It looks good. It looks like I got great penetration. I don't see any kind of issues, so that's going to be pretty rad. Now let's get our downpipe flange welded on as well while the material's still hot. Hey guys, so I just wanted to mention, when welding stainless to cast iron, you need to use 309L filler rod. So that's what I'm using. This is 1/16 309, and that's what we're sticking this together with. So far, it's coming out really good. I'm pretty happy. This is gonna be a nice little exhaust housing here. I think I'm gonna go in there with a little deburring tool, just kind of take off any high spots, just kind of get that a nice smooth transition. There's a little lip there. I think we can improve on that, and then it's good to go. I gotta let that sucker cool down. It's gonna take quite a long time, and it's time to go home anyways. This whole daylight savings thing kind of threw me for a loop today, so super pumped up about this. This is rad. Back at it. We are welded up. Everything looks great on here. I just did one last pass on it just for insurance reasons. And now, while that's cooling, I'm just gonna bolt my rear partition on. This is the best part. All right. Pretty slick. They'll never be this clean again. That's a guarantee. But let's get this bolted on and get our seats back in, and we won't have to worry about that. It is bolted up. So now, the beauty of the V-band is we have all sorts of adjustability here to figure out what's going to be the best setup. Now, a couple things. So this, the center section of this turbo, we can tilt this at 15 degrees. And let me show you my plan. I bought a new valve cover. I bought a SULEV M56 valve cover that fits this. And what that is an aluminum valve cover. And what I'm going to be doing is welding my dash 10 oil drain right here into the valve cover. Done deal. So the oil drain will be maybe 3 inches long, and that's just the simplest, easiest way to do it. So that should be in Friday. It is Tuesday today, and in the meantime, we are just kind of planning where our gate's going. All my fittings and spacers and everything came in for the wastegate, so now we just have to extend this 2-inch tube, and we're gonna come probably somewhere up here. Super excited, guys. This is becoming pretty rad here. So I love how this is sitting. It's nice and it's high enough, and it's just a cool little setup. So I think I might just do this goofy exhaust for now, just because I don't want to run out of time. I really want to get this car done for Cletus and Cars. But I will do 2 exhausts. I think this will be my race exhaust, just light, short, functional. And then ultimately I'm going to do an exhaust, I think, that comes down here, comes out with nice teardrops and everything. And on this one, on the cold side of things, I cut that 90 down to about a 40-degree angle. And that's going to be a straight shot right to our intercooler. So we'll weld that on. Once we get it all in place, we'll get a straight section just to make sure it fits. And that's pretty much where this is gonna live. So everything's looking, it's actually smoother than I had anticipated. I can't wait to get this thing on the ground and see it Oh, also, I have been back and forth on the wheels. I had them on my E30. Now I got them back in this car, and they're gonna live on this car. The biggest issue I had was my front tire was ridiculous. It was a 235/45, and it just looked like this big tractor tire pretty much. So I bought a smaller profile tire, about a 235/40. It's a cheapo Federal tire, nothing to write home about, but I wanted a meaty looking tire, and I wanted, you know, a nice little low profile on it. So hopefully this will look better once the car's all down and at ride height. But just one of those things. I was going back and forth with the wheels, and I don't know, I was just being weird about it for a minute. I don't know what I was thinking, but everything's good. These wheels are good. All right, we're almost at the final steps here, getting this gate mounted. This is a tile 44mm wastegate. This is going to be plenty big enough to bleed off any kind of boost issues or creep we might have. So you guys can see I have pie cuts here just to get this right angle. It's been kind of tricky because I have to get this V-band clamp clearance on this part, and also make sure everything fits with one another. But I think that's pretty much gonna be it. If anything, you know, I think I might be able to drop this down a little more. It's a little high. Let's see. They're about centered. I'm gonna take another 1/4 inch off that, try to lower this gate down just so it's not taller than the turbo. I think just aesthetically that will look better if I can get this as low as possible. So I think I'm gonna do that. Let's just slice a little bit off that glass piece we have here. This is what our manifold's looking like. Now the one thing is, on this flange, this V-band flange, it actually is a little narrow. This is 2-inch OD pipe, or tubing rather, and this flange is not. I haven't measured it yet. But so what I'm gonna do is throw this in the lathe, open it up a little bit, and that way it will accept our 2-inch tubing here. So there it is. We just had to open it up a little bit more. That one still has a burr on it. There it is. So now we have this nice lip to weld on. Well, there we are. I think that's the setup. This is crazy. There we go. Woo-wee! We're getting quite the setup here. My biggest hindrance here is this bracket. It's like this clamshell style thing, and it hits here, and it almost hits here, so I really can't get away with, you know, going in or out much more. I also have to really weld up my up pipe on the wastegate because it is a little bit wiggly, so I need to do that before I really commit to everything. So I'll start welding it up. I haven't even cut the hole into the turbo side yet. I have to do that as well. And if you look at it, it's like a Y, right? So Brent from PFI Speed, I worked with him on the smart car project, and he explained things really well. He's like, listen, when you think of exhaust and you think of air moving, think of it like a river, like water, okay? Same principle. So with this, you don't want like a hard 90 coming off. You want like a nice bifurcation of the main artery, let's say, of airflow. So in this one, you know, we have this nice angle coming out, so the air can just come out and flow right out when it needs to. And this should be, it should work really well. So pretty fired up on this setup, actually. It's gonna be pretty rad. So it's just as easy as that. We're just gonna deburr it around there with our deburring tool, clean it up a little bit, and we'll get this tacked back on. Double check that everything still fits, and when it's re-tacked back on, weld it up and it's done, man. Okay, just because I'm very curious, I got my manifold installed and I want to see what it sounds like going from a 6-to-1 collector instead of the stupid 3-to-1 on each. I think it's going to sound, I don't know how it's going to sound. We're going to find out though. Obviously this is just for goofs. We still gotta put all the bolts back in the manifold and everything, so it does sound way better though. Way better. Okay, so that's it for today. We're going to get this manifold bolted on. I gotta go pick up hardware now. I'm gonna come back tomorrow and we're gonna play around with getting the oil feed lines routed, the intercooler plumbing hooked up and all that stuff. But as of now, the exhaust manifold is finished. So I'm pretty happy about this. Came out good. I think it's gonna work great. We do have to address our engine mount sooner than later as well. So maybe that'll be on the chopping block tomorrow, because I am waiting for a valve cover. So there's no point in going through all this stuff, getting everything together and then having to pull it all apart to put a valve cover back on. So hopefully the valve cover will be here tomorrow. If not, it'll be here Monday. And we're on our way. So very excited, guys, and thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.